A man and a crowd of onlookers stare up in disbelief at something unseen in the sky. Suddenly, above Tokyo, a phone's screen reflects an impossible structure appearing in the sky. A colossal, glowing citadel materializes high in the clouds, surrounded by shimmering rings of light. The crowd watches in awe as the mysterious phenomenon is identified as the inverted castle. Simultaneously, monolith-like dungeons begin manifesting all across Japan, from rural fields to ancient temples. In this new era, certain powerful individuals began to emerge from the chaos. Humanity awakened to mana, unlocking incredible, world-altering powers. The most talented of the awakened, especially mages, challenged the dungeons for wealth and fame. A mage's true potential was judged by the unique color of their mana. While most wielded a single color, rare and powerful dual-color users were also known to exist, and some possessed an even more complex and foreboding combination of colors. Inside the dungeons, terrifying and powerful monsters laid in wait for challengers. A confident mage with purple eyes smirks, facing down a monstrous beast. He casually unleashes a devastating blast of dark energy toward his target. With a confident grin, he prepares to cast a powerful spell called Demon's Lance. The spear of dark magic soars through the air and strikes the winged demon. The creature cries out as the potent magical attack tears through it. He lands gracefully, his foe defeated in a brilliant display of power. Elsewhere, a young man with white hair walks with a heavy, somber expression. He's suddenly struck by a stray blast of red energy, catching him completely by surprise. The powerful mage, identified as Kurosaki Kai, the Purple King, looms over him and orders him to pick something up. The white-haired boy is revealed to be a complete rarity in this world. He is colorless. Despite his lack of magical talent, he desperately clings to his dream of becoming a mage. To survive, he works as a porter, carrying valuable dungeon drops for other mages. He clutches a mana crystal, his expression one of pure, unwavering determination. Sometime later, a party arrives before a pair of immense, foreboding doors. Inside, a party member confidently states they have reached the boss room and expects an easy victory. A heavy thud echoes through the chamber as the massive doors begin to swing open. Kai's party steps into the vast, circular boss chamber, ready for battle. Before them materializes the dungeon boss, Kronos, god of time and space, his level unknown. Kai scoffs, unimpressed, dismissing the divine being as he gathers his magic. He immediately launches a volley of shadowy projectiles at the god. Kai follows up with another powerful attack he calls Demon Slain, but Kronos effortlessly parries the entire assault with a flurry of ethereal blades. The god remains completely unfazed, his glowing eyes fixed on his opponent. Kai stares in absolute disbelief, his arrogance instantly replaced with shock. Kronos' eye glares with overwhelming and terrifying power. An immense pressure suddenly crushes Kai as a sinister red aura envelops him. In a blinding flash of red, the one-sided battle becomes a brutal massacre. Two of the other party members look on in sheer terror, splattered with blood. As his teammates fall around him, the white-haired boy stands frozen amidst the carnage. He stares at the devastation in utter confusion, barely able to process what happened. Trembling, he mutters in disbelief that this can't be real. He realizes with horror that the legendary Purple King, Kai, was defeated in a single instant. The surviving mages scream and try to flee, only to be instantly slaughtered. Kronos stands impassively over the bodies, the room now silent. The force of the final attack sends the boy stumbling backward. As the sole survivor, he is confronted by Kronos, who remarks on his colorless nature. Refusing to give up, his mind races as his hand closes around a fallen sword. With a final surge of defiance, he raises the blade and screams that he refuses to die. Kronos looms over the boy, mocking his defiance and questioning why a colorless being dares to face him. Despite the insurmountable odds, he reinforces his resolve, thinking he cannot give up. Kronos seems amused by the boy's will, calmly accepting the challenge with the simple, "Very well." His eyes burn with divine light as he declares his intention to test the boy's spirit. In a flash, a sinister red blade of energy materializes and impales him. Blood splatters across his face as he stares down in agony and shock. A visceral ache tears through the silence as he screams from the unbearable pain. He stumbles backward, clutching his chest in absolute confusion. His eyes widen in utter disbelief as he realizes the fatal wound has completely healed. Unimpressed, Kronos begins to concentrate a swirling mass of hellfire in his hands. He unleashes a temporal inferno, the hands of a fiery clock spinning wildly around him. A devastating torrent of magical flame rushes forward to consume him. As the flames roar closer, Kronos cruelly offers him time to think on his powerlessness. He is completely engulfed by the inescapable attack known as Hellfire Flames of Despair. Kronos watches with a predatory grin, eager to see what the boy will do now. Amidst the inferno, a burning sword appears, and he wonders if he created it himself. Driven by desperation, he reaches out and seizes the hilt of the flaming weapon. A defiant ooh echoes as he struggles to wield the overwhelming power. He continues to roar, pouring his very life force into the unstable blade. Gah! The intense energy threatens to tear his body apart from the inside out. He cries out as the hellfire he's trying to control burns his flesh. Kronos calmly observes the fiery spectacle, his expression unreadable. With a final, all-or-nothing lunge, he drives the burning sword deep into Kronos' chest. Scorched and bleeding, he manages a grim smile, knowing he landed a solid hit. Kronos looks down in genuine surprise, acknowledging that the boy managed one hit. The god's calm facade finally shatters, replaced by a look of cold fury. A wave of dread washes over the boy, as he realizes he only angered his opponent. Kronos dismisses the attack as good entertainment while the wound vanishes into smoke. He collapses to his knees, utterly defeated. His ultimate effort meant nothing. Trembling, his mind begins to accept the horrifying truth of his situation. A single terrifying question echoes in his thoughts. Is he going to die like this? Just as he resigns himself to his fate, a glowing blue screen materializes before him. A system alert confirms Kronos' presence is releasing the seal on his black skill. He suddenly acquires a new power, the extra skill drain. An unknown power surges through him, and his eyes begin to glow with a faint light. Clutching his head in agony, he unleashes a hidden ability he never knew he had. Rewind. The world dissolves around him in a swirling vortex of dark, temporal energy. For the first time, Kronos cries out in shock and rage as reality begins to unravel. Executing regression. Time shatters into a chaotic storm of spinning clock faces and broken gears. Light itself bends and fractures as his consciousness is violently pulled into the past. He jolts awake with a sharp gasp, finding himself sitting upright in a bed. Staring at his own hands, he realizes, with a shock, that he has returned to his younger self. The furious, fading scream of Kronos, "You bastard!" echoes across the void of time. The system reaffirms that the regression is executing, sealing his journey to the past. The hands of countless clocks spin backward with unstoppable momentum. The cosmic rewind distorts space into a blur of fractured color and light. The temporal storm finally settles into a moment of pure blue energy. A mysterious voice resonates in his mind, informing him that he is now capable of defeating Kronos. His regression completes with a final jolt as he sits up, now fully awake in his old room. With wide eyes, he realizes, with a start, that he's younger. He touches his face in utter disbelief, trying to process the impossible. Seen from outside, he sits up in his bed as a new morning begins. His confused thought echoes across a bright blue sky. A memory flashes of a high-tech, floating tower that once appeared in the sky. The image of the impossible structure is seared into his mind. He recalls how the magnificent tower gradually became stained with a corrupting blackness. When the corruption was complete, a mysterious, glowing door opened within it. He remembers that beyond that door lurked the god of time and space. He realizes it was during that fateful fight that he stole the rewind skill. The chaotic, dark energy of the regression swirls through his memory. Checking his phone, he confirms the date is September 27th, 2024. Staring at his reflection, he confirms he has truly returned to the past. He remembers the despair of his previous life, having never awakened a single skill in 10 years. But now, a new hope emerges as he thinks of his new ability, skill drain. A notification on his phone reminds him that today is the day of the mage exam. The scene shifts to the imposing Tokyo Mage Association HQ, the national agency for mages. Now inside, he remarks that the building still looks new, remembering it's 7 years in the past. Two familiar figures appear, Oike, level 37, and Goto, level 36. He scowls, recognizing them immediately as his brother's lackeys. Goto mockingly asks if he's planning to take the exam again, calling it pointless for a colorless. A painful memory surfaces of him failing the exam over and over, unable to give up his dream. Slap, he shoves their hands away and tells them to leave him alone. Goto scoffs at his attitude as he walks away, dismissing him as a mere colorless. B-rank mage, Hinata Reina, level 27. Hinata looks up from her papers with a weary expression, recognizing him instantly. She warns that he'll get himself killed, but he confidently assures her it will be fine this time. The scene transitions to the inside of the exam area. He and Hinata stand before a massive, glowing gate leading into the dungeon. He steals his resolve and confirms he is ready to begin. The objective is announced. Collect 3 magic stones from goblins to pass. He steps through the glowing gate, confident that it will be easy for someone with a skill. A dark, foreboding thought fills his mind. Just for today. Stomp, a monstrous foot slams down, emanating a sinister red aura. An unnaturally powerful monster with a terrifying grin appears, something that shouldn't be in a level 1 dungeon. He confirms his fears as the creature is identified. Redcap, level 37. A young woman cries out in terror, telling someone named Kurosaki to run. Kurosaki sweats, realizing the level difference between them is far too great. He remembers this moment from before his regression, when Hinata fought the creature. His memory confirms it. Hinata couldn't win against this monster. He recalls her look of utter shock as she was completely overwhelmed by its power. The red cap's attack sends Hinata flying backward in a brilliant flash of light. The explosive impact echoes through the cavern. He remembers finding her broken and bleeding on the cavern floor. The memory of her lying unconscious in a hospital bed, kept alive by machines, flashes through his mind. He clenches his fist, blaming his past incompetence for her fate. In the present, the red cap stands ready to attack once more. But Kurosaki's eyes glow with newfound power and determination. The red cap lunges forward in a blur of motion, ready to strike him down. Kurosaki stands his ground, a glowing dagger materializing in his hand as he vows this time will be different. Kurosaki analyzes his opponent, realizing the red cap has a skill that enhances its physical abilities. He recalls that the creature's power is so immense that ordinary attacks are completely ineffective. But a new plan begins to form in his mind. Bam! He lands a solid punch directly on the red cap's jaw. Kurosaki's eyes narrow as he clenches his fist with steely determination. Recovering from the blow, the red cap's eye glows with a malevolent red light. The monster roars in fury, unleashing a powerful aura as it prepares to strike back. Staggered, the red cap looks on in absolute confusion. A system notification appears, confirming that his physical stats have improved. Facing the monster, Kurosaki thinks that all he has to do is steal its skill. In a flash of brilliant light, the red cap is seemingly cleaved in half. Kurosaki declares that without its skill, the creature is nothing more than a lump of flesh. The monster stumbles back, still bewildered by the sudden turn of events. He thinks to himself that as long as he steals the skill, victory is his. The beam of light slices through the red cap once more. Kurosaki coldly states that the monster is now nothing more than sliced meat. Hinata watches the entire exchange, completely stunned. Dark energy swirls around him as he activates his unique ability, Skill Drain. Feeling the new power, he acknowledges how amazing it is. Hinata turns to him in disbelief, asking how it was possible. He hesitates, deciding it's better not to mention anything about black skills. Furious, Hinata accuses him of lying and dismisses his victory as a mere coincidence. She quickly regains her composure and announces that the exam is cancelled due to the appearance of an irregular. Kurosaki stands over the dark, dissolving remains of the defeated red cap. He picks up the large magic stone it dropped, noting that irregular shouldn't have appeared yet. Remembering his original goal, he realizes he still needs 2 more mana stones to pass. Panicked, Hinata shouts that it's not the time for that, and warns him of the danger. Just then, 2 goblins with glowing red eyes step out from the shadows. The monsters snarl viciously as they lunge forward to attack. In a blur of motion, Kurosaki effortlessly cuts down both goblins. He walks past their fallen bodies, without a second thought. With a confident grin, he holds up the 3 required stones and asks if he can take them. Back in the bustling lobby of the Mage Association, he waits for his results. He receives his official C-rank license, bearing the name Kurosaki Rei. Rei recalls his miserable past life, where he was a mere porter for 10 years. Looking at his new ID, he feels a sense of accomplishment, having finally become a mage. An attendant explains the process for exchanging the mana stones he collected. An infographic details how mana stones are a valuable emission-free energy source that can be sold for profit. Ray examines the receipt, figuring the stone from an A- rank monster should provide a decent income. He's shocked to see the red cap's item is worth 3 million. The staggering amount echoes in his mind. 3 millions? Hinata laughs, commenting that mages earn a lot, and tells Ray he can achieve even more. Now a registered mage, Ray stands before a massive, glowing blue dungeon gate. He reaches out his hand, touching the gate's holographic interface. The system confirms the gate is reserved for him. Kurosaki Ray, rank C. He reflects that in his past life, he was never able to enter a dungeon solo. Remembering Hinata on life support, his resolve to save her is strengthened. A memory of her bright, happy smile flashes in his mind. With newfound determination, Ray vows that this time, he will change the future. Blue energy gathers in his palm as he activates a new skill, Mana Hand. Ray braces himself, enveloped in a crackling shield of blue mana. Suddenly, a voice from the dungeon entrance asks what he's doing here, causing Ray to turn in shock. It's Goto and Oike, who mockingly question why a colorless mage would dare enter a dungeon solo. Ray calmly states that he passed the exam and is fully authorized to be there. Wham! A hand viciously grabs him by the hair. Goto sneers as he holds Ray captive, demanding to see his supposed skill. Ray internally notes that his mana hand is a physical compression of mana, too strong for a simple enhancement skill to break. Thinking he has a plan, Ray plants his foot, ready to counterattack. He lands a devastating punch to Goto's face with a flash of brilliant light. Kyug! Goto staggers back, blood pouring from his nose in complete shock. A system notification confirms that his mana hand skill has been disabled. The two bullies stare in disbelief as Ray is once again surrounded by a powerful blue aura. With a look of intense focus, Ray reactivates his mana hand skill. A powerful wave of blue energy erupts from his body. Goto stares in utter disbelief, finally realizing that Ray has awakened skills. Oike steps forward, warning Ray not to get arrogant as he prepares his own attack. With a malevolent grin, Oike unleashes a powerful fireball spell. Ray counters by channeling a golden aura into his fist, activating another ability. His glowing fist collides with the fireball in a fiery explosion. With pure determination, Ray punches directly through the magic attack. The punch shatters the fireball and slams into a blue barrier protecting Oike. Goto watches in horror as the barrier cracks, realizing Ray also possesses body enhancement. Oike lies defeated on the ground, staring up at Ray in utter confusion. Ray looms over him, wondering aloud if his opponent is shocked that he's dual-colored. Dark, crackling purple energy begins to gather in Ray's open hand. The energy condenses into a swirling red orb as he declares he has one more color. He holds the potent red energy, confirming he has a third unknown power. Stuttering in fear, Oike realizes Ray has a third color, something thought to be impossible. Ray takes aim, preparing to unleash the crimson orb of energy. The attack explodes against Oike, who screams in agony. Goto looks back in terror, his own defensive aura still active. Holding the volatile red energy, Ray coldly asks if they still want to fight. Terrified, they scream an apology and flee for their lives. Ray watches them leave, worrying that this won't end well if someone named Kai finds out. A painful memory surfaces of a sinister figure named Kai, who treated him like a dog. The memory shows Kai standing triumphantly with his boot on Ray's head. Ray recalls that Kai is already a level 50 mage, and knows he'll be crushed if his new skills are discovered. His thoughts turn to an ominous, high-level dungeon that is scheduled to be unlocked soon. Standing before the dungeon gate, his resolve is clear. For now, Ray decides his only priority is to raise his level as quickly as possible. He steps through the shimmering blue portal, entering the dungeon. Inside, he reflects that leveling up is crucial for learning skills and increasing his mana control. Whoosh! A sudden explosion of fire erupts from deeper within the cavern. A formidable hooded creature appears, a level 38 flame wizard. Ray struggles, barely managing to conjure a single, unstable fireball of his own. In stark contrast, the flame wizard effortlessly summons a barrage of powerful fireballs. Ray grimaces, acknowledging the immense power gap created by their level difference. The flame wizard unleashes a relentless stream of fire attacks. Surrounded by a vortex of flames, Ray prepares to defend himself. A powerful beam of red energy slices through the darkness of the dungeon. Wham! Ray counters the fiery blast with a powerful kick of his own. He assesses the situation, knowing he can't win in a direct confrontation. But a glimmer of an idea sparks in his determined eyes. He realizes that no matter the level, every opponent has a fundamental weakness. He observes the Flame Wizard in the brief moment after it uses a skill. He realizes there's always a brief opening right after an attack. For 2 short seconds, the monster becomes powerless, his chance to strike. With a golden aura blazing around his fist, he rushes in to attack. He lands a direct hit on the stunned Flame Wizard. Ray notes that the creature's staff is its only means of attack. The enraged Flame Wizard snarls, preparing to retaliate without its weapon. Monster looks on in shock as Ray activates his ability, confident he can steal its power. The Flame Wizard unleashes a final, desperate barrage of fireball spells. The spells converge into a massive, swirling vortex of destructive fire. As the attack bears down on him, a system notification pings in front of Ray. A cascade of notifications confirms he's leveled up multiple times in an instant. He reflects on how skill drain makes it easy to defeat high-level monsters for massive experience gains. Looking toward the next part of the dungeon, he sets a new goal: reach level 30. He swiftly cuts down another monster, gaining yet another level. He continues his relentless climb, facing down a hulking red demon. Surrounded by enemies, Ray grins confidently as the level-up notifications keep appearing. He checks his status, acknowledging his incredible leveling speed, but he notes with some concern that the experience required is increasing significantly. Having cleared the lower floors, Ray arrives at the imposing doors of the boss room. Grinding heavily, the massive stone doors slowly swing open. He steps into the cavernous chamber, where a menacing shadow looms in the darkness. Green, necrotic energy swirls around the feet of the dungeon's final guardian. He finds himself facing a level 45 skull demon, flanked by 2 level 30 imps. The skull demon towers menacingly over its smaller, winged companions. Realizing they're all higher level, Ray knows his only chance is to steal their skills. Enveloped in a golden aura, he charges headfirst into the boss fight. He weaves through the chamber, closing the distance to the monsters in an instant. He targets the main boss, his fist crackling with blue mana as he goes for the first strike. Suddenly, his expression shifts to one of complete shock. Cue, his punch is stopped cold by a shimmering hexagonal barrier protecting the skull demon. Frustrated, he realizes his physical attacks can't get through. He understands the problem. The mana barrier is preventing him from using skill drain. The skull demon lets out a guttural roar, preparing to counterattack. It lunges forward with incredible speed, its claws aimed directly at Ray. Gritting his teeth, Ray resolves to find a way to break through the barrier. He decides he has no choice but to use a different, more drastic measure. To shatter the barrier, he plans to deprive one of the other monsters of something useful. A new plan forms. He doesn't have the right power yet, but he knows where to get it. He instantly changes targets, dashing toward one of the weaker imps. He lands a solid punch, staggering the smaller demon. As the imp reels, Ray's hand glows with crimson energy, activating skill drain. The imp shrieks in shock as it feels its power being ripped away. Now armed with its skill, Ray turns and unleashes a powerful fireball at the skull demon. The blast hurtles from his hand, aimed directly at the boss's barrier. He then immediately conjures a new spell, a crackling ice lance. Ray simultaneously unleashes the stolen fireball and his newly conjured ice lance. He lands gracefully, ready for the skull demon's next move. The skull demon conjures a magic circle, preparing its own devastating attack. The boss coolly notes that its defeated imp will be resummoned immediately. As the imp respawns, Ray realizes that while normally troublesome, for him this endless supply of monsters is actually quite convenient. He instantly attacks the respawned imp, knowing this is his chance. He levels up to 28, realizing he can farm the infinitely respawning minion for experience. Staring at the notification, he considers the implications of leveling so quickly. The new system alert confirms he's reached a specified threshold for mana control. The skull demon lets out an enraged roar, sensing the shift in Ray's power. Having met the requirements, he manifests a new skill, Ice Needle. He immediately follows it with another acquired skill, Fireball. With a look of fierce concentration, Ray prepares to use his ultimate ability, Skill Synthesis. He masterfully weaves the red and blue energies together into a swirling vortex of power. The skull demon looks up, startled by the immense energy gathering before it. Ray shouts, unleashing his newly combined and devastatingly powerful fire lance. The skull demon quickly raises its hand, conjuring its hexagonal barrier to defend itself. The fire lance collides with the barrier in a massive, blinding explosion. Crack! The immense power of the attack shatters the demon's magical defense. Rei's fist smashes through the crumbling barrier, striking the demon's arm. "One more shot!" he yells, pressing his relentless assault on the now vulnerable boss. He knows that his attack has stripped away the enhancements protecting the skull demon. The demon's glowing eyes burn with rage as it faces him without its defenses. Rei fires another fire lance, striking the skull demon directly in the chest. The boss is completely engulfed in the volatile crimson magical energy. A cascade of level-up notifications floods his vision, confirming his victory. Phew. He catches his breath, exhausted but triumphant after the intense battle. The battle has unlocked a new horizon for him, skill synthesis. An explanation reveals this advanced technique combines skills and is usually unlocked around level 30. Sitting in the quiet boss room, Rei clutches the monster core, thinking he knew he could do it. He suddenly cries out, struck by an unexpected wave of intense pain. He grimaces, realizing there's a serious drawback to his powerful skill drain ability. The scene shifts to the gleaming modern skyscraper of the Mage Association headquarters. Rei places the massive green mana stone from the skull demon onto the reception counter. Gasps echo through the lobby as onlookers realize he defeated the dungeon boss. A female receptionist stares in utter shock, exclaiming that he reached level 33 in just one day. Rei sheepishly laughs off her astonishment, claiming he just got lucky. Still processing the news, she thinks that leveling past 30 in a day is completely unheard of. A new voice from behind declares that at this level, Rei can unconditionally become a B-rank mage. The sinister voice belongs to Kai, who interrupts with a demand to... Hold on a second. Kai smirks condescendingly, questioning how that dog could be B-rank and dismissing it as a mistake. Rei's expression hardens as he internally seethes at the sight of his old tormentor, Kai. Looking down on Rei, Kai skeptically questions his supposed new rank as a B-rank mage. The receptionist timidly confirms that Rei did, in fact, defeat both the Red Cap and the Skull Demon. Kai glares at Rei, his expression a mixture of disbelief and contempt. His eyes glow with malevolent purple energy as he prepares to unleash a powerful attack. A chaotic blast of dark magic erupts, sending nearby mages flying. Rei's electrified blue hand intercepts Kai's dark purple fist just inches from his face. With a confident grin, Rei blocks the attack, coolly remarking, "That's dangerous." Looking completely unfazed, Rei grins and admits the attack was dangerous. The receptionist shouts Kai's name in shock as she witnesses the confrontation. Kai confirms the rumor is true, his gaze locked intensely on Rei. With a grim expression, Rei quietly affirms Kai's statement. Kai scoffs, telling Rei not to get excited just because he learned a new skill. He declares his intention to personally test Rei's true capabilities. Smirking, Kai flexes his fingers as a sinister red aura surrounds him. The receptionist nervously asks Kai if he really plans to fight in the association building. Kai dismisses her concerns, stating it's no problem if Rei is a genuine B-rank, but she remains hesitant. He turns to Rei, condescendingly asking if his claimed abilities were all just lies. Rei internally weighs his options, realizing that refusing will only lead to future trouble. With steely resolve, Rei accepts the challenge. The scene shifts to the Mage Association's arena, where Rei prepares to face a stronger opponent. Kai thinks about the mana difference, while Rei resolves not to let his guard down for a second. Rei analyzes the power gap, calculating that the level 50 Kai can likely chain 5 skills together. He concludes that in a straightforward battle of numbers, he is at a clear disadvantage. Taking the initiative, Rei unleashes his first attack, Ice Needles. Kai effortlessly counters by summoning a powerful fireball. The opposing spells of ice and fire hurtle toward each other. The two attacks collide in a blinding flash of magical energy. Kai is sent skidding back from the force of the unexpected explosion. Stunned, he wonders what just happened as the smoke begins to clear. Rei suddenly appears behind him, activating extreme body enhancement with a golden glow. Kai recognizes the yellow-colored skill, realizing with surprise that Rei is a dual-color wielder. Rei keeps a running count in his head, noting that was Kai's 4th skill. He calculates that his opponent should only have mana for 1 skill remaining. Seeing his opening, Rei clenches his fist and shouts, "Now!" He activates Skill Synthesis, unleashing a powerful, combined Fire Lance attack. Stunned, Kai realizes Rei can use 3 colors of magic by combining blue and red skills. Kai quickly throws up his last available skill, a simple fireball, in a desperate defense. Rei's Fire Lance easily overwhelms the fireball, blasting Kai off his feet. Scrambling on the ground, Ray can't believe he lost to such a basic skill. Kai stands over him triumphantly, red energy swirling around his hand. Looking down on his fallen opponent, Kai declares that they are on completely different levels. With a manic grin, Kai prepares another attack, commanding Ray to dance. He unleashes a flurry of dark, fiery projectiles across the arena. Ray cries out as he's struck by the relentless barrage of attacks. He quickly gathers red and blue energy in his hand for a counterattack. Ray fires his own fire lance, aiming to intercept the incoming assault. However, Kai's overwhelming fireball attack continues to bear down on him. In a last-ditch effort, Ray throws up a defensive mana barrier. The massive fireball smashes into Ray's hastily constructed shield. The barrier shatters, sending Ray flying from the impact. As Kai smirks victoriously, a battered Ray curses his own powerlessness. With glowing eyes and a vicious grin, Kai mockingly demands an immediate apology. Ray grits his teeth, acknowledging he can't win with his current limited abilities. Lying defeated on the ground, he momentarily considers giving up. But finding his footing, he rejects the thought of surrender. He forces himself to his feet, defiantly shouting that he won't quit. Kai unleashes a massive purple fireball, activating his overclock skill to double his power. Ray stands defiant, engulfed in the overwhelming purple aura of Kai's overclocked attack. Kai gathers a swirling sphere of volatile pink energy in his hand. He unleashes his special move, a 10-combo Decade attack. Ray recognizes this immense power as the source of Kai's legendary strength. An inner thought explains Kai can wield more mana at once than any other king. But as Ray braces himself, he reveals this was all part of his plan. With fierce determination, he shouts that he was waiting for Kai to use this specific skill. He repeats his declaration, confirming this was the moment he had been anticipating. As Kai launches the 10 consecutive attacks, a narrator notes it's a rare feat. Ray leaps high into the air, attempting to evade the incoming barrage. Kai laughs maniacally, mocking him for thinking he can dodge while airborne. The swarm of dark energy projectiles relentlessly homes in on Ray. With a flash of insight, Ray's eyes glow a brilliant blue as he prepares a counter. A system window announces the activation of a new skill, Mana Hand. A colossal blue hand erupts from the ground, blocking the assault as Ray lands safely. Kai grits his teeth in frustration, shocked that Ray has revealed yet another new skill. Ray calmly thinks that dodging a 10-skill combo is meaningless if he can exploit the opening. He knows that even a king like Kai is now vulnerable due to his skill cooldown. Seizing his chance, Ray dashes forward through the lingering magical energy. In the few seconds of his opponent's vulnerability, he closes the distance instantly. Clenching his fist, he prepares to strike, while Kai is completely defenseless. Kai watches in horrified disbelief as Ray's punch is about to connect. Whack! Ray lands a clean, powerful blow that sends his opponent flying. A system notification confirms Ray's true goal. The skill Overclock has been stolen. Ray believes the fight is over now that he possesses Kai's ultimate ability. Kai stumbles, feeling the immense drain of his power being ripped away. Ray watches his weakened foe, wondering if he will finally surrender. But instead of conceding, Kai's face twists into a mask of pure, blood-soaked rage. He combines the last of his ice and dark mana, preparing one final desperate attack. The blue and purple energies fuse into a single, devastatingly powerful vortex. With a furious roar, Kai unleashes his ultimate secret weapon, the Demon Lance. Ray is stunned, realizing Kai just managed to learn the strongest purple skill mid-battle. The newly formed Demon Lance hurtles toward him with terrifying force. Its incredible speed shatters the arena floor as it closes in. Kai stands surrounded by crystalline dark energy, having put everything into this final move. Ray grimaces, admitting he only landed his previous hit because Kai was careless. As the chaotic energy barrage bears down, he knows Kai will surpass him if he survives this. The overwhelming power strikes him head-on, sending him flying in shock. Kai smirks, a sinister purple glow emanating from his hand as he watches Ray fall. In a desperate clash, Ray fires his own fire lance to intercept the attack. Kai simultaneously unleashes his Demon Lance, meeting the assault head-on. The two powerful lances collide in a blinding, chaotic explosion of purple energy. The camera focuses on the violent, swirling vortex of the magical impact. "Gah!" Ray cries out as he's thrown back by the sheer force of the blast. "Ku!" He coughs, slammed against the cracked arena wall from the impact. Standing victorious, Kai declares this power is why he's called the Purple King, proof he's the strongest. Ray painfully concedes that his opponent's Demon Lance is indeed among the most powerful skills. Kai condescendingly warns him not to get cocky just because he can use a lot of skills. A new resolve forms in Ray's mind as he wonders about the true potential of the purple skill. He realizes that until now, his mana capacity has limited him to synthesizing only 2 colors. Bathed in a violent purple aura, Ray activates the stolen skill, Overclock. He internally confirms his mana capacity has doubled, believing his prediction is finally coming true. With a look of fierce anticipation, Ray realizes this is the moment he's been waiting for. Kai watches with alarm, wondering what Ray is planning now that his mana has suddenly increased. With glowing eyes, Ray begins to gather a swirling mass of dark, unstable energy in his hand. He prepares to attempt the impossible, a 3-colored skill synthesis never seen before. First, he summons the essence of a red skill, a swirling crimson core. Next, he introduces a yellow skill, fusing it with the burgeoning dark energy. Ray stares intently as the volatile black and purple mana coalesces in his palm. Kai shouts in disbelief, recognizing the impossible manifestation of black mana. Ray recalls that the basic colors of mana are supposed to be only blue, red, and yellow. He remembers being told he was unsuited for any of the 3 primary colors. With grim resolve, he knows that assessment was completely wrong. He reveals his secret. He had already consumed and absorbed those other forms of mana. Empowered by his unique nature, Ray declares himself a Dark Mage. Corrupting black energy writhes across the arena floor at his feet. The process continues as he focuses the power of a red skill into the mixture. He then folds in the energy of a yellow skill, completing the unprecedented fusion. A system notification announces that the skill Abyss Flame has been created. Ray reflects on his ability to have swallowed the very mana others wield. He embraces his new identity, reaffirming that he is a Dark Mage. The dark power continues to emanate from him, staining the ground black. Terrified by this unknown power, Kai screams for Ray to stay away. Ray gazes at the newly formed crystalline spear of pure abyssal energy in his hand. His eye reflects the swirling, chaotic power he is about to unleash. With a powerful thrust, Ray launches the sphere of concentrated darkness. Kai watches in absolute horror, screaming that this shouldn't be possible. Ray glares, holding the condensed sphere of pure black magic. Cursing in desperation, Kai throws up a hasty magical defense. As Ray prepares to fire, Kai desperately summons a crystalline shield to block the attack. Ray unleashes his ultimate attack with a look of absolute finality. He shouts the name of his new power, Abyss Flame. The beam of pure darkness shoots across the arena, aimed directly at Kai. Kai's face contorts in terror as the Abyss Flame shatters his defenses instantly. The attack connects in a blinding explosion of destructive purple and white light. Panting from exertion, Ray manages a faint, triumphant smile. In the aftermath, Ray walks away from Kai's unconscious body on the ruined floor. He collapses to his knees, drained but victorious, and whispers, "I did it." A blue system window suddenly appears before him, catching him by surprise. He reflects on the immense power of the Abyss Flame he just created. The receptionist rushes into the destroyed arena, calling out to check if Ray is okay. Staring at the devastation, she wonders what kind of skill could cause such damage. Ray concludes that in this situation, he can no longer afford to hide his true abilities. Dark, shadowy energy continues to swirl around his gloved hand. He examines the strange power, identifying it as a black skill. The receptionist stares at the display, her expression one of pure shock. She approaches Ray as the last vestiges of his dark power fade away. Ray asks if he has to report his black skill, admitting he'd rather keep his new power a secret. She looks flustered, quickly clarifying that her shock wasn't about his secret. She explains that she just thinks he's missing a huge opportunity, leaving Ray confused. A narrator explains that the strongest mage of each color is granted the prestigious title of king. With his newfound power, a system declares that Ray can now be considered the Black King. Ray quietly contemplates the weight of his new title, a king, He tells the receptionist that becoming a king hasn't actually increased his level significantly. Changing the subject, Rei turns to ask the receptionist a question. Rei asks if Kai is okay, but the receptionist assures him that as a king, Kai will recover quickly. Sighing, she decides to take Kai to the medical room, regardless of his status. A sudden alert flashes on her phone, catching Rei's attention as he asks what it is. Rei's expression turns to one of pure shock as he sees the message. A high-priority warning announces that a level 70 dungeon has appeared in Ikebukuro Park. The receptionist stares at her phone in disbelief while Rei processes the shocking news. With a grim look of anticipation, Rei realizes the moment he foresaw has finally arrived. An ominous red gate materializes, signaling the arrival of the Ikebukuro dungeon. A flashback reveals that the other kings, being only around level 50, were powerless against the level 70 dungeon. Because no one could conquer it, the Ikebukuro dungeon was left completely abandoned. But a menacing red energy begins to pulse from within the Forsaken Gate. A monstrous demonic entity with a single glowing eye emerges from the dungeon's depths. The catastrophic event is identified as a dungeon collapse. The narrator explains that if a dungeon is not conquered in time, its monsters will escape into the world. A news broadcast confirms the first ever dungeon outbreak, resulting in numerous casualties in Ikebukuro. The tragedy is recalled as monsters overwhelmed Tokyo, causing a massive loss of life. Clenching his fist, Rei vows that he will not allow such a tragedy to happen again. With fierce determination burning in his eyes, he resolves to stop the dungeon collapse at all costs. The receptionist turns to Rei, her expression filled with alarm at his sudden resolve. She frantically tries to stop him, warning that the dungeon is far too dangerous, even for Rei. Looking toward the glowing red gate, she adds that only mages ranked A and above are permitted entry. Rei acknowledges the danger, but notes that there is still time before the collapse begins. The receptionist hesitantly agrees, prompting Rei to reveal his plan. He declares with conviction that he will achieve A rank at the very next examination. A confident smile spreads across Rei's face as he solidifies his new goal. The receptionist is stunned, shocked by his plan to attempt an A- rank promotion so suddenly. She concedes that with his incredible skills, passing the exam might actually be possible for him. Sensing her hesitation, Rei turns and asks if there's a problem with his plan. With a worried expression, she explains the first major hurdle. He must clear a B-rank dungeon with a party. Rei sits down, processing the difficult requirement of forming a party and clearing a B-rank dungeon within a week. He overhears two nearby mages gossiping about him being colorless, realizing the rumor has already spread. He contemplates the difficulty of clearing an unexplored B-rank dungeon, especially as a solo mage. Leaning back in frustration, Rei wonders how he's supposed to find a party on such short notice. A voice suddenly calls out to him, breaking him from his thoughts. A woman with brown hair, flanked by her party members, approaches and tells him she's putting him to work. Rei watches the group of women walk away, cautiously asking what she wants from him. The lead woman scolds a member of her party, revealing she only recruited her for being a dual-color wielder but finds her fire skills too weak. Rei turns away, annoyed at having stumbled upon an unpleasant party dispute. He bitterly recalls his own past experiences of being treated as useless deadweight by others. His eyes widen in sudden, shocked recognition. He identifies the girl being berated as Ichinos Aya, who looks on with a dejected expression. A flash forward reveals Ichinos' destiny. She is fated to become the powerful Scarlet King. Rei watches the scene unfold, surprised to see the future Scarlet King being mistreated by her own team. Ichinos meekly apologizes to her party leader, promising she will do better next time. The lead woman issues an ultimatum, telling Ichinos to prove her worth in today's raid or be kicked out of the party for good. Lead woman gives the order to move out, and the party proceeds into the raid. Watching them leave, Rei wonders with concern if they will be alright. The scene transitions to Rei walking alone down a street as evening falls. He recalls his knowledge of the future, remembering that Ichinose is destined to become the Scarlet King. Rei knows she will face many hardships, including a tragic incident around this time where she is gravely injured by a boss and goes berserk. He has a sudden, dawning realization. Staring into the twilight sky, Rei worries that the fated incident might happen today. He recalls an account of Ichinose's berserk state, remembering she seemed completely abnormal. Driven by a new sense of urgency, Rei clenches his fist and resolves to hurry. Inside a dark space, a massive dungeon door creaks open. Ichinos and her party stand before the towering gate, facing the ominous silhouette of a boss monster. With a tremendous crash, the gate is violently thrown open from within. A hulking, headless knight with a ghostly teal flame emerges, identified as a level 45 Dullahan. Ichinos is suddenly shoved forward toward the monster. Thrown to the ground, she looks back in confusion at her party leader. The lead woman smiles cruelly, ordering Ichinos to fight the Dullahan alone. Ichinos pleads in terror, knowing she can't possibly win against the creature by herself. The lead woman issues a final ultimatum: win, or she will be kicked out of the party. Resigned to her fate, Ichinos turns to face the Dullahan and accepts the impossible challenge. The other party members look on with smug satisfaction as their leader cracks her knuckles. Ichinos nervously gathers her power, conjuring a sphere of fire in her hands. She unleashes a massive fireball, engulfing the Dullahan in a fiery explosion. The flames dissipate, revealing the Dullahan completely unharmed by the attack. Ichinos stares in disbelief, realizing her spell had no effect. The Dullahan takes a heavy step forward, shattering the stone floor as it prepares to counterattack. The monster leaps high into the air, poising its enormous sword to strike Ichinos down. Its sword crashes down with devastating force, shattering the ground around Ichinos. Screaming in terror, Ichinos is blasted away by the shockwave. She lands hard on the ground, groaning in pain from the impact. Bruised and beaten, Ichinos struggles to push herself up from the floor. The Dullahan looms over her, raising its sword to deliver the finishing blow. Closing her eyes in despair, Ichinos accepts her fate, believing herself to be useless. Suddenly, a figure lets out a powerful roar amidst a blinding flash of golden light. Rei appears in a burst of speed, perfectly parrying the Dullahan's descending sword to save Ichinos. With a mighty do, Rei's eyes glow as he effortlessly holds back the monster's immense blade. With a single powerful shove, Rei sends the massive Dullahan flying backward across the room. He immediately turns to Ichinos, anxiously asking if she's okay. Rei urgently repeats his question, his concern for her safety clear. The lead woman watches in utter shock, wondering who this mysterious newcomer is. An internal monologue notes that a Dullahan is an incredibly heavy type of monster. Ichinos stares in awe, amazed that Rei blew the creature away with a single sword strike. The Dullahan recovers and charges, swinging its blade directly at Rei. Rei stands his ground, realizing his first attack wasn't enough to defeat the beast. He analyzes the enemy, deducing its armor is enhanced with a strengthening skill that blocks normal attacks. Leaping agilely out of the way, Rei formulates a new plan. He declares that if he can't break the skill, he'll simply steal it and nullify the armor. Purple tendrils of dark energy erupt from Rei as he unleashes Skill Drain. To his surprise, Rei realizes that his skill failed to activate. The Dullahan presses its attack, forcing Rei to slide back as he parries another heavy blow. Ichinos anxiously asks if he is alright, and he confirms he managed to block the strike. Rei deduces that to bypass the Dullahan's armor, he must make direct contact with its internal body. With a fierce ga, the Dullahan swings its massive blade once more. It smashes the ground, unleashing a torrent of destructive green energy toward Rei. Rei quickly pulls Ichinos behind him for protection, ordering her to stay back. He casts a magic barrier, creating a powerful shield to block the incoming blast. The other party members watch the confrontation unfold from a distance. The shockwave from the impact sends the onlookers flying as one of them screams in panic. Ku, the lead woman, struggles against the force, preparing a counterattack of her own. Furious at the interruption, she screams, "Bastard!" and launches a massive ice shard. The Dullahan continues its relentless assault, swinging its sword again. Its green energy wave collides violently with the lead woman's ice magic. The ice spell shatters instantly against the superior power of the monster's attack. The lead woman stares in disbelief as her magic fails. "Kya!" she screams as the residual energy slams into her. Rei dashes forward through the chaotic aftermath of the magical clash. The lead woman realizes, in horror, that her ice needle spell had no effect on the monster. Seeing his opportunity, Rei decides to use a different strategy. He knows he needs a skill that can overwhelm the Dullahan's defenses entirely. Channeling dark purple energy, Rei prepares to break through the monster's armor. Ichinos watches in astonishment, recognizing the rare and powerful black mana. Rei unleashes his ultimate skill, Abyss, directly at the charging Dullahan. The Dullahan's armor begins to crack under the overwhelming force of the attack. Ray stands his ground, engulfed in a protective aura of dark energy. He unleashes a torrent of dark magic, crying out, "Flame!" A massive vortex of violent purple energy swirls and consumes the entire chamber. The Dullahan is trapped helplessly within the powerful magical storm. Dark purple flames engulf the monster, sealing its fate. The creature's strengthened armor shatters under the immense pressure of the abyss flame. Ray's overwhelming power completely consumes the monster. The Dullahan's body is obliterated in a final, explosive burst of energy. A single wisp of its ethereal essence fades away, signaling its defeat. Ichinos is left speechless, stunned that he defeated the boss in a single hit. Ray stands calmly in the aftermath, his mission accomplished. Ichinos cautiously approaches him, getting his attention. Bowing deeply, she sincerely thanks him for saving her life. Ray examines the mana stone dropped by the boss, casually saying he knew its weakness from something he read. Ichinos smiles, relieved and grateful that she was saved. Nearby, the lead woman and her party members stir, confused by what just transpired. Watching Ray, she realizes with a grimace that he's far stronger than he appears. A greedy, sinister smile spreads across her face as she decides the reward belongs to her. The lead woman gets to her feet and interrupts Ray and Ichinos, telling them to wait. She smugly claims that since her party was registered for the raid, the Mana Stone is hers and demands he hand it over. Outraged, Ichinos shouts that Ray was the one who saved them all. To her surprise, Ray calmly agrees to give the lead woman the Mana Stone. He holds up the stone, adding that there is a condition. His proposal leaves both Ichinos and the lead woman completely shocked. Ray looks at Ichinos, telling her the decision rests with her. Puffs. The lead woman erupts in mocking laughter at Ray's unseen proposal. Looking determined, Ichinos agrees to the unseen proposal, stating she is now in his care. As the lead woman walks away with the Mana Stone, pleased with the transaction, Ray reflects on how a deadweight could be sold for such a high price. The word deadweight strikes a nerve with Ray, whose expression hardens. He inwardly questions whether Ichinos is truly as useless as her former party believes. Later, Ichinos formally thanks Ray for the invitation and apologizes for making him leave his party so suddenly. She voices her insecurity, asking if it's really okay and worrying that she will only drag him down. Reaching out his hand, Ray begins to offer her a place with someone better than those who abandoned her. As Ichinosa resolves to become stronger, Ray correctly guesses her intention. Ray explains that he saw her at the association and overheard her party's cruel conversation. The memory of being berated resurfaces, causing Ichinos to flinch in sadness. Ray offers his hand, promising to be the support she needs. His hand remains outstretched, a symbol of his genuine offer. Ichinos clenches her fist, nervously contemplating her future. With renewed resolve, she accepts his offer, declaring that she will be in his care. They shake hands to seal their new partnership, and Ray smiles, welcoming her. The scene shifts to Ray standing before a glowing dungeon gate, ready for their next step. Ray stretches confidently, while Ichinos ties her hair, both preparing for the challenge ahead. Facing the dungeon, Ichinos confirms that conquering it will allow them to take the A-rank exam. Ray reveals that inside this dungeon lies the key that will make her stronger. Ichinos clenches her fist, motivated by the thought of paying her medical bills once she ranks up. With a determined gaze, she announces she is ready to go. Enveloped in a golden light, they enter the dungeon together. A system notification reveals they have entered a B-rank dungeon, a cavern filled with glowing crystals. Ichinos gasps in alarm, pointing out monsters lurking in the shadows ahead. A menacing pack of black wolves with glowing red eyes and markings emerges from the darkness. Ray steps forward, confidently telling Ichinos to leave the wolves to him, and she agrees. His eyes flash with golden power as he prepares to attack. Ray surges forward in a blur of brilliant yellow energy. With a determined look, he materializes a glowing blue sword. He effortlessly slices through the first black wolf with a powerful strike. In a dazzling display of speed, Ray cuts down the entire wolf pack in an instant. Ichinos thinks back on her previous party, recalling that they were strong. She stares in utter disbelief, shocked by the incredible power Ray just displayed. Ray casually dusts off his shoulder, the fight already over. Turning to Ichinos with a reassuring smile, he tells her he'll provide support while she does as they planned. Standing ready, Ichinos confirms she understands her role. She stands alone before the crystalline cavern, steeling herself for the fight. Her expression is a mixture of determination and nervousness. She laments her limitations, recalling that she can only use simple attack skills. Facing a swarm of small, winged creatures, she resolves to try her best. Ichinos unleashes a powerful fireball, blasting the monsters with a wave of flame. Watching from a safe distance, Rei sees this as a crucial test for her. He inwardly wonders if this trial will help her realize her true, hidden weapon. A creature slips past her defenses, lunging from the shadows. Rei moves in a flash to intercept the monster, determined to protect Ichinos' concentration. Focused on her task, Ichinos incinerates a creature with a well-aimed fire spell. Sia. Another creature bites her side, making her cry out in pain. Surrounded, she realizes with dread that the monsters just keep coming, no matter how many she defeats. Panicked, she feels her mana draining and fears she won't be able to hold out much longer. She glances back in desperation and calls out to Rei, who is busy fighting off another group of monsters. Rei swiftly cuts down a creature, protecting Ichinos while she focuses on her own battle. Vowing to live up to his expectations, Ichinos gathers her fiery determination. A system notification announces her level up as she incinerates another wave of monsters. She unleashes another massive blast of fire, anxiously checking her remaining power. To her own surprise, she realizes her mana isn't running out at all. Watching from afar, Rei observes that Ichinos is perfectly suited for battles of attrition. He correctly identifies her immense mana pool as her true, hidden weapon. A sudden system notification window appears before a startled Ichinos. She stares at the screen in disbelief, while Rei watches knowingly from the background. They arrive at the boss room, where a level 52 huge slime emerges from the crystals. The crystalline slime monster leaps forward, launching a powerful attack at the pair. Charging ahead, Rei urgently tells Ichinos to use the new skill she just unlocked. Gathering an immense amount of fire, Ichinos prepares to unleash her new skill, Blast Furnace. She unleashes a massive, swirling inferno that consumes the entire cavern. Stunned by the sheer force of her own attack, she can only stare in disbelief. She questions if this incredible, overwhelming power truly belongs to her. Clenching her fist, she resolves to wield this newfound strength with purpose. Rei reflects that Blast Furnace is a skill that greatly boosts firepower at a high mana cost. He concludes that the skill is a perfect match for Ichinos' particular talents. With her resolve solidified, she unleashes another devastating torrent of flames. Rei watches with a confident smile, realizing her power exceeds even his high expectations. He muses on the powerful synergy between her tremendous mana pool and the Blast Furnace skill. With this power, Rei foresees that Ichinos Aya is destined to become the Scarlet King. After the battle, Rei approaches Ichinos Aya and calmly tells her, "Good job." Overcome with joy and gratitude, Ichinos Aya credits her success entirely to Rei. They stand together in the now silent boss room, the shattered ceiling, a testament to her power. His gaze fixed on the future, Rei steels himself for the upcoming promotion test, vowing to pass. The scene shifts to the association, where an official explains the exam will begin with a combat capability test. Standing side by side, they acknowledge that the promotion exam has finally begun. As they walk, Ichinos Aya offers encouragement, but Rei knows the true test is just ahead. As they turn a corner, they are met by a familiar, mocking voice, calling out Ichinos Aya's name. Ichinos Aya recognizes her former party leader, murmuring the name Isoyama-san. Rei steps forward, vowing that Ichinos Aya will not lose to someone who abandoned their teammate. Isoyama scoffs, annoyed by his intervention and protective stance. She smugly declares that her new party members are far superior to Ichinos Aya. Isoyama introduces her new teammate, Aono Yuri, claiming she is an opponent they can never defeat. Rei recognizes the name, recalling from his past life that Aono Yuri once soloed a high-difficulty dungeon. This incredible feat, he remembers, was what first made her famous. Rei assesses that her current strength is likely around that of an A- rank mage, and Aono Yuri notices his gaze. "You look like an interesting person," she remarks, to which Rei responds with an unenthusiastic sigh. In a flash of insight, she connects him to a rumor about the Purple King's subordinate, Kurosaki Kai, being defeated. Pointing directly at Rei, she confidently asks if he was the one who defeated him. Shocked, Ichinos Aya asks if it's true, while Rei marvels that Ono Yuri knew so much. With a confident smile, Ono Yuri dismisses his accomplishment, declaring that he still can't win against her. As she walks away, she belittles the rumors about the Purple King, claiming he's not comparable to her. Rei watches her go, contemplating the challenge posed by the formidable Aono Yuri. At the Mage Association's training grounds, an instructor explains the combat test will involve an artificial golem. He elaborates that the golem is made of a special, hardened rock, and urges them to attack it with all their might. As the golem activates, Rei steps forward and begins channeling a dense sphere of dark red energy. Rei leaps high into the air, preparing to unleash his powerful attack directly onto the golem. Rei knows that a normal fire spell won't be enough to damage the hardened golem. Deciding on a different approach, he combines red and blue mana into a volatile sphere. He unleashes the dual-element fire lance, striking the golem with explosive force. The powerful attack engulfs the golem in a massive cloud of dust and debris. As the dust settles, the golem lies shattered on the cracked floor, its destruction confirmed by an announcer. Two astonished onlookers remark on how he destroyed it in a single hit with a rare, dual-colored spell. Next is the mana pool test, where an instructor directs Ichinose Aya to place her hands on a crystal. Watching from the sidelines, Isoyama scoffs, thinking Ichinose Aya should be ashamed of herself. As Ichinose Aya places her hands on the device, it erupts in an overwhelming torrent of fiery energy. Isoyama and her teammates stare in absolute shock, questioning who this person with such incredible power is. Seething with jealousy, Isoyama convinces herself that Ichinose Aya must be cheating. Glaring at a calm Ichinose Aya, Isoyama vows to expose her supposed lies. The next test begins, and Ano Yuri immediately launches an Ice Needle attack. In response, Ichinose Aya gathers a massive ball of concentrated fire in her hands. She hurls the fireball directly at her opponent. Aono Yuri cries out as the massive explosion engulfs her position. Standing in the fiery aftermath, Ichinose Aya watches as a stunned Aono Yuri questions what just happened. Without pause, Ichinose Aya unleashes another fireball, catching Aono Yuri completely off guard. She continues her relentless barrage, shouting for her opponents to take the attack. Refusing to be underestimated, Aono Yuri erects a powerful mana barrier to defend herself. Confident in her defense, she plans to simply wait out the simple attack and then counter. But the barrage of fireballs continues relentlessly, hammering against her barrier. Her confidence wavers as the assault doesn't let up, and she begins to panic. Staring in disbelief, she wonders why the attack isn't stopping as Ichinose Aya prepares another blast. Rei watches, knowing that a constant, overwhelming offense is the perfect strategy for Ichinose Aya's immense mana pool. Under the unending assault, Aono Yuri's mana barrier begins to crack and splinter. A dreadful realization dawns. A standard magic barrier is completely useless against this onslaught. In a brilliant flash, the mana barrier shatters into pieces. Aono Yuri screams in terror as the fireballs finally break through her defenses. She is violently thrown back by the force of the explosions and flying debris. Defeated and sprawled on the ground, Aono Yuri mutters in disbelief that it must be a lie. An announcer declares the winner to be Ichinose Aya, who looks on with a happy, relieved expression. Rei congratulates her on a good battle, and she laughs, feeling her victory is almost too good to be true. Later, Rei and Aono Yuri formally introduce themselves before their final match. Aono Yuri confirms that Rei is her final opponent in the mock battles. Rei eyes his formidable opponent, thinking to himself that this will be an interesting fight. Aono Yuri probes him, asking if he has a specific reason for taking the exam. She notes that he seems far more prepared than the other participants and wonders why. Surrounded by a powerful blue aura, Aono Yuri confidently reminds him of her strength. Unfazed, Rei draws his sword with a smirk and declares that he will be the one to win. Aono Yuri initiates the attack, launching a swarm of magical ice blades toward him. Rei moves with incredible speed, easily dodging the volley of projectiles. He swiftly counters, unleashing a sweeping golden arc of energy with his sword. Rei activates Mana Conversion, a rare skill that grants him complete control over his mana. A towering pillar of pure blue energy erupts from his blade. Lunging forward, Rei declares that it's his turn to go on the offensive. Aono Yuri calmly prepares a counter, stating she won't let him attack so easily. With fluid movements, Rei effortlessly parries her barrage of mana strikes. Aono Yuri watches his movements intently, her expression turning serious. Rei closes the distance in a blur, pressing his attack. As Yuri leaps through the air, Rei prepares to unleash a powerful dual elemental attack. With intense focus, Rei yells for his teammates to attack now, unleashing his own power. He launches his signature Fire Lance skill, a spiraling vortex of red and blue energy. In response, Yuri activates mana conversion, creating a hexagonal barrier to absorb his attack. Her blue energy field successfully neutralizes Rei's fiery assault. As her barrier dissipates, Yuri comments that his attack was a close call. Rei silently acknowledges her flawless defense and formidable strength. Watching anxiously from the sidelines, Aya whispers Rei's name in concern. With a confident smirk, Yuri gathers blue energy in her hand, contemplating her next move. She unleashes a massive wave of energy blades, challenging Rei to handle her full power. Rei skillfully spins and deflects the barrage of magical blades with his sword. Gritting his teeth, he admits to himself that her relentless assault is becoming troublesome. Yuri mocks his evasive maneuvers and taunts him, declaring that the fight is hers. Trapping him in a vortex of power, she coolly declares, "Checkmate." Rei looks up, caught in the swirling torrent of blue energy closing in on him. The magical tempest converges, striking his position with devastating force. Emerging from the blast, Rei reveals a powerful new transformation, his eyes glowing with energy. A surprised Yuri reacts with intrigue to his sudden power-up. To prove her point, she conjures a massive, intimidating scythe made of pure mana. Rei watches intently as Yuri stands ready with her newly formed energy weapon. The two warriors clash in a spectacular display of power, sword against scythe. Rei is momentarily stunned by her incredible speed. They engage in a fierce, high-speed exchange of blows, their energy lighting up the arena. Yuri drives Rei back, smashing the ground with a powerful, energized strike. Bracing against her attack, Rei marvels at the sheer force behind her blow. In a swift move, Rei catches Yuri's arm, stopping her attack mid-swing. Yuri scoffs at his move, calling it shallow and believing it's not enough to stop her. Her confidence evaporates as a sudden realization hits her with a jolt of shock. Rei gives a knowing smirk, having successfully activated his hidden skill by touching her. He counters with a decisive strike, sending a stunned Yuri flying backward. Staggering from the impact, Yuri struggles to regain her footing. His transformation fading, Rei looks on, tired but victorious. Sometime later, Yuri's eyes flutter open as she awakens in an infirmary bed. A smiling Rei and a concerned Aya greet her, announcing that she's finally awake. Sitting up, Yuri gracefully admits her complete defeat, impressed by Rei's unexpected strength. She teases him, correctly guessing he's there for more than just bragging about his promotion. Getting to the point, Rei respectfully asks if she would be willing to join their party. Aya explains that Yuri also achieved A rank and that her strength is needed for difficult dungeons. The proposal sends Yuri into a fit of unrestrained laughter, startling Rei. Wiping a tear away, she sighs and admits that he is a truly interesting person. With a warm, genuine smile, Yuri accepts his offer to join them. The new alliance is sealed with a handshake as Rei formally welcomes Yuri to the team. As the new party forms, the room is rocked by a sudden tremor, causing Aya to cry out in alarm. The intense rumbling continues, shaking the entire building. Rei's expression turns grim as he recognizes the familiar sensation of the tremor. A dreadful premonition fills his mind as he fears the worst is happening again. He is struck by a dark vision of a powerful, hooded figure bound by mystical chains. The vision ends on a close-up of the entity's menacing, glowing red eye. Rei thoughtfully considers the implications of the recent earthquake he felt. His thoughts drift to his past life and a foreboding, glowing red structure. He recalls the catastrophic monster outbreaks, realizing his new world is approaching a similar time limit. With grim certainty, Rei understands the dungeon's difficulty is completely unheard of for this era. Standing before Ichinose Aya and Aono Yuri in a hospital room, Rei announces he has something to tell them. Ichinose Aya gasps in shock, questioning his sudden declaration to conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. She voices her doubts, reminding him it's Japan's hardest dungeon and there are only 3 of them. Aono Yuri calmly pieces it together, asking if his urgent proposal is because of the earthquake. Rei confirms her suspicion, explaining that a recent surge in irregular monsters gives him a bad feeling. Unfazed by the danger, Aono Yuri agrees to the plan, intrigued by the challenge. Ichinose Aya finds her resolve, promising to do her best and not be a burden. Hearing their unanimous agreement, Rei breaks into a wide, confident smile. The new party officially forms as Rei declares their mission to conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. The trio arrives in the city, staring up at the massive, floating gate of the dungeon. Ayano Yuri smirks, expressing her excitement for a super difficult dungeon with a level 70 recommendation. Ichinosaya nervously suggests that it might be safer to team up with other mages. Rei wishes for a powerful ally named Oikawa, a name Ono Yuri seems to recognize. He recalls that before his regression, Oikawa was Japan's top-ranked mage and a vital asset. Rei's expression hardens as he considers the dire consequences if the dungeon were to collapse again. He remembers a vision of an ethereal blue fortress that would appear after the collapse. The memory reveals the true threat, the eventual arrival of Kronos, the god of space and time. Shaking off his dark premonitions, Rei turns to his companions, preparing to enter the dungeon. Aono Yuri asks him to call her by her first name, finding his formal address too stiff. Ichinose Aya smiles warmly, cementing their bond by asking, "We're already friends, right?" A gentle smile spreads across Rei's face as he wholeheartedly agrees. Now on a first-name basis, Rei rallies his team. Aya, Yuri, let's conquer the Ikebukuro dungeon. The newly formed party charges together into the vast red-crystalled cavern of the dungeon. A menacing, skeletal monster with eerie green flames for hair emerges from the shadows. Recognizing the creature as a boss-level monster, Rei rallies his team to fight. Aya and Yuri immediately agree, gathering fire and ice mana as they prepare to attack. Rei charges forward, only for the monster to erect a powerful hexagonal mana barrier. Identifying the barrier as their first obstacle, Rei unleashes his dual-element Fire Lance skill. The monster smirks as the attack fails to break through, but Rei knows this is just the beginning. His attack was a feint, allowing Yuri to descend from above, while Aya prepares a fire vortex below. The powerful fire and ice attacks slam into the mana barrier in a perfectly coordinated assault. Monster's confidence shatters as its barrier cracks and breaks apart under their combined power. With the barrier gone, Rei blitzes past the now vulnerable monster, sword in hand. He lets out a powerful war cry as he lunges forward, aiming to deliver the finishing blow. Rei lands gracefully as the monster is vanquished, leaving behind a large green mana crystal. He walks back to his teammates, calmly complimenting them on their perfect timing. Yuri watches him approach, stating that something has been on her mind since their mock battle. She directly asks him how he was able to use so many different skills during their fight. Rei's expression turns serious as he clenches his fist, preparing to reveal his greatest secret. With Aya listening intently, Yuri correctly guesses his ability is Skill Drain, which Rei confirms. As dark energy swirls around his hand, Rei explains that he can steal skills simply by touching someone. Rei reassures her that he has already returned her skill, and Aya looks on in stunned silence. The revelation shocks Aya as she tries to comprehend his incredible ability to steal skills. In a flashback, Aya remembers her initial shock when he first proposed conquering the dungeon. As they venture deeper into the Crimson Cavern, Rei urges his team to press forward. With a look of determination, Aya silently vows not to be a burden to her teammates. In a montage, the trio skillfully battles their way through the dungeon's monstrous inhabitants. Having cleared a path, Rei announces they've reached the boss room, just as the ground begins to shake. As the rumbling intensifies, Aya nervously voices her concerns about facing such a powerful monster. Rei confidently reassures her, noting that their recent level-ups should make the fight manageable. The party proceeds with grim determination, walking toward the looming confrontation. Aya reflects on her teammates' rapid growth, noticing how Rei and Yuri are becoming stronger with each fight. Clenching her fists, she strengthens her resolve to properly support them in the coming battle. Suddenly, a massive, shadowy appendage slams down right beside a startled Aya. Both Rei and Yuri turn in shock, alarmed by the sudden and powerful attack. A colossal tentacle whips through the air, aiming directly for a terrified Aya. Frozen in place, Aya can only let out a small gasp as the attack closes in. As Aya is ensnared by a tentacle, Yuri screams Rei's name in a panic. Monstrous silhouette begins to emerge from the cavern's oppressive darkness. The horrifying level 89 dungeon boss, Grim Reaper, reveals its full tentacled form. Rei stares in disbelief, realizing the boss should not be able to leave its designated chamber. Yuri dryly asks if the situation is bad, to which Rei grimly agrees that it's critical. With a determined shout, Rei declares their top priority is to save Aya at any cost. In a dark realm, the mysterious figure bound in purple chains lets out a chilling laugh. A powerful, white-haired being concedes that this is the limit of his power, reluctantly agreeing to proceed. As the entity gives the command, the Grim Reaper in the dungeon prepares to strike. Ray desperately shouts Aya's name, asking if she is all right. Trapped within the monster's pulsating grasp, Aya weakly confirms she's somehow okay. She struggles against her prison, frustrated that she blocked the hit only to become a burden. Ray assesses the situation. Realizing Aya's mana barrier won't hold out forever, he hesitates to use a powerful attack that could harm Aya and quickly searches for another way. Ray tells Yuri he will draw the monster's attention so she can rescue Aya. With a unified battle cry, Ray and Yuri charge toward the colossal boss. The monster responds by whipping a massive tentacle through the air toward them. Boom! The tentacle smashes into the ground, but Ray manages to leap clear just in time. He realizes the creature's immense power means a direct hit would be fatal. Ray dashes across the fractured ground, skillfully evading the enormous beast. Another tentacle lunges from his blind spot, catching him completely by surprise. In a swift counter, Ray unleashes his mana hand skill, summoning a large energy construct. The glowing blue hand intercepts the appendage, successfully halting the deadly assault. Thrown back by the force, Ray lands with a smirk, acknowledging it was a close call. Seeing her opportunity, Yuri smirks, declaring that his distraction is all she needs. Wreathed in energy, Yuri dives toward the part of the monster holding Aya, certain of her success. She strikes the fleshy pod with her energized scythe, aiming to slice it open. Both Ray and Yuri are stunned into silence by what happens next. Yuri's attack is blocked by a hexagonal barrier, and she realizes the monster used a strengthening skill. Thrown backward by the barrier, Yuri lands on the ground, annoyed by the failure. Ray quickly rushes to her side, asking if she's okay after the unexpected counter. Staring up at the boss, Ray notes that something feels very strange, and Yuri agrees. He muses that tentacle monsters typically have low defense and have never been known to possess strengthening skills. Furthermore, the fact that it is wandering outside the boss room is highly unusual. The scene flashes to the smiling, chained entity, hinting at his involvement. As another tentacle strikes, Ray curses, realizing they have no more time to think. Ray and Yuri fight for their lives, desperately deflecting a chaotic storm of tentacles. Trapped by the monster, Aya is overwhelmed with guilt, thinking it's all her fault. She flashes back to her past reliance on Ray, believing they would always be fine as long as he was there. Breaking from her thoughts, Aya grits her teeth, determined to find a way to contribute. Thump. A powerful shockwave rips through the cavern. Yuri looks down at the exhausted Ray, grimly acknowledging how bad their situation has become. Ray curses their depleted mana, worn down from the relentless fighting. He laments that if their mana had been in perfect condition, the outcome would be different. Head bowed, Ray desperately racks his brain for a solution. His eyes snap open as a sudden realization strikes him. Ray shouts a desperate command, telling Aya to use her mana fusion skill on them. Still ensnared, Aya looks on in confusion at his strange request. Yuri questions the plan, reminding him that the skill is considered useless because of its immense mana consumption. Ray acknowledges that mana fusion was once thought to be worthless. He remembers how, thanks to a certain mage, the skill's value was completely overturned. Ray reveals to himself that it was Aya who accomplished this feat in his previous life. Trapped, Aya recalls never using mana fusion, believing it to be a useless skill. Despite her own doubts, she steels her resolve, deciding to put her faith in him. With a determined shout, Aya activates the ability. A golden light emanates from her as she focuses on her single goal, to help him. Streams of brilliant orange energy flow from Aya toward her two teammates. Yuri stares at her hand in disbelief, shocked to feel her mana recovering. Ray cracks a relieved smile, seeing his plan as a success. He internally explains that mana fusion allows a user to share their mana, a skill only masterable by mages with vast reserves. His expression hardens as he considers a critical caveat to the plan. Aya realizes the true potential of her skill, understanding she can share her mana directly with them. While her teammates fight, Aya struggles to channel her energy. She realizes her mana barrier is interfering with the transfer and preventing it from working. Making a difficult choice, Aya decides what she must do next. She stands defiantly within the crushing grip of the tentacles. Both Rei and Yuri look back in shock at her sudden, reckless action. Rei realizes with horror that she has just released her mana barrier. Goo! Aya cries out as the full force of the tentacles crushes her body. In a final desperate act, she unleashes her blast furnace skill. Massive wave of fiery energy erupts, surging toward Rei and Yuri. Rei shouts in disbelief, realizing she's using blast furnace to amplify her skill's output. As darkness closes in, Aya entrusts the rest to them before losing consciousness. The Grim Reaper's monstrous maw opens, ready to devour its helpless captive. Now fully charged, Rei calls out to Yuri, who confirms she is ready to fight. Wreathed in golden and blue energy, the two mages launch a devastating counterattack. Yuri reflects on the sheer determination Aya has just shown them. With newfound resolve, she decides she has no choice but to win. Monster lunges, meeting their combined assault head-on. A brilliant flash of light fills the cavern as their attacks collide. Their supercharged blades slice effortlessly through the monster's defenses. Charging forward in perfect sync, Rei declares that together, they can pave their own path to victory.